Alright, welcome everybody. This is going to be a tutorial to play Blood and Plunder on Tabletop Simulator for those of you who are not familiar with either one or the combination of the two. A friend and me will be playing a 150-point land game encounter scenario tomorrow for demonstrative purposes, and we'll be recording the entire thing just like I am today. However, today I'm going to set up the map for us. Me and him are good friends, so he knows I'm setting it up ahead of time. We also trust each other, so normally you would want to do this either with an agreement or in front of each other. One of the downsides of tabletop is setup can take longer because both parties need to be present, unless the two parties trust each other. Now, my screen is going to look different than yours, especially in this bottom area down here. I have a simulated keyboard and a simulated mouse so that you can see the buttons that I'm pressing and what I'm doing. Now, I'm going to try to talk about this as well, but I wanted to have this overlay. So if I press W or C, space, escape, clicking the mouse, scrolling up, scrolling down, even my little side buttons are included. This will all be to facilitate aid. I want this to be as easy as possible so as many people as possible can play Blood and Plunder with other people they would normally not be able to. We have a local group here, thanks to Jason Klotz of Blood and Pigment. However, I still would love the chance to play some other people I don't normally get to or rarely get to, like Garrett, who is an amazing player. So, the first thing you're going to want to do when you open this is what everybody does. Settings, go from game to sound, and turn your main menu volume down. Everybody does this because otherwise gets old after a while. And there's no audio when you actually boot up the game unless you load it into it, but that's more advanced than we'll be going over. Alright, now that that's set, first let's run under the assumption that you have Tabletop Simulator installed and you have subscribed to the workshop modifier Blood and Plunder Assets, which is the mod or workshop item that I created. We're going to create multiplayer because this is going to be a multiplayer. I'm going to set it to invite so that no one joins me. However, when you're doing it with friends or whatever, then you can select friends. If it's someone you don't want on your friends list but you want to play against, you can select public, and you can set a password. You just have to tell them that password, then they can join. You can also name it, which I'll do. No one said I was good at typing. Create server. It will then drop you into this. It will ask you what you want to do. What do you want to load? You're going to go to workshop. You're going to find the asset mod that I made, or whatever you want to use. This is the one I made that I highly suggest others use. Now, you can build off of this, but I don't really recommend it. What you're going to want to actually do is whatever it is that is here. Let's go with this. 28 terrain squares pink bag. I'm going to right-click, save object. It's going to ask me where I want to save it. We're just going to say root folder for now for demonstrative purposes. Where did that go? Objects up here at the top. Saved objects. And then it will be right there. Now, if you want a folder like this, create folder. We'll just do that folder right there. Then, go back, exit out, same object. We're just going to save object to that folder we just made, Summer of Plunder 2025. Save. Going through those steps again, objects, save objects, Summer of Plunder 2025, and there it is. What I have done preemptively is I have a Blood and Plunder folder, and then I have subcategories. Because you can make folders within folders within folders, and so on. So I'm going to delete these so that I don't get confused, the ones that I just made. While I doubt anyone will use them, I still want to show what these are. We're going to drop this in. That's how you spawn the items, by the way, even the bags. So let's say you want this pink bag back out. Drag and drop. It's that simple. You can also click it, and it will drop the menu for you, and then you can spawn them out. I'm left-clicking to do that, as you can see. Escape, and now I'm free. I'm going to highlight all these, and then just press delete. The weather. Right-click, looping effects, and it tells you which one it is. It's a very cool little weather mod if you want to get fancy. You do not have to use these for any reason other than to look really cool. Now, big field here is something I want you to keep in mind. I am going to go to Games, Save and Load System, which is both saving your current game and loading prior games. The base Blood and Plunder mod, in fact, I will show you that real quick. As soon as I see it, at least. There it is. This is the other Blood and Plunder mod in the game. All this red, a bunch of errors, stuff isn't loading. It, instead of being... Let me get through all these. This is why we don't use this. Instead of loading something and it actually being something that you can see, like, you know, this dice right here, it instead is now something useless. Like this white piece, that white piece, a dot, terrain with labels on it, and photo bucket marks. However, this table and these sheets I liked and I wanted to keep. Now, full credit to the person that made this, I did not do any of this. I just kind of cannibalized it a little bit. So, that's what I did, is I deleted everything off of this, leaving these two, leaving just the table with the water. That is this. I'm going to quickly delete some of this extra stuff because I want a fresh start. Now, by the time this video comes out, I'm probably going to have different activation decks because someone has went to the trouble of making actual themed activation decks instead of just a deck of cards, which is what we have now. It'll be up to them if they want to allow me to put this in here or not. If they don't, please go subscribe to them. If they do allow me to use that mod, please still go subscribe to them. They put in the work and the effort, and I do not deserve the credit for their work. Speaking of resources, before we continue, Blood and Pigment. Firelock Games is, of course, the creator and everything, but if you don't know Blood and Pigment, you need to. They are an amazing resource, and they're essentially the reason we have Summer of Plunder to begin with. Their articles have tons of valuable information and useful documentation and articles, and even just players talking about their wins and how they like to play, how they like to use factions. They also have a YouTube channel that they talk about these same things. What factions they like, how did Adepticon go, What are you looking forward to? There's even a video about the errata changes that took place a few months ago, however long ago that was as of making this video. Go check out Blood and Pigment. This is a full, shameless plug for those people, because without them, this game would not be nearly as popular as it is, in my opinion. They are awesome. Now, moving on. I'm going to go to objects, and those save objects I used earlier, we're going to drop out the big field. Now, excuse me, I did not mean to do that. Problem. It's covering up my quick reference a little bit, and I don't like that. So, I'm going to right-click, toggle, because as you see, I can't move it. It's static and it's in the way. Right-click, toggle, lock. And now it is a physical object in the world again, and you can move it around by pressing and holding left-click. Just like you would a desktop icon if you've ever messed with that. Now, right-click, toggle, lock, and it's back in place. L is also a shortcut for this. However, it is important when using shortcuts. Don't just hover over the thing, because that doesn't always work. I like to right-click, then press the button I want. That way I know I have the object selected I want to. Because often what will happen is you will have a little mini sitting up here, you'll think you're hovering on him, you'll press lock or something else, and you'll hit your table instead. And that is not fun. However, if something like that does happen, please do not panic. Tabletop Simulator accounts for people being silly, essentially. We're going to drop a bunch of stuff out here randomly. Oh no, things are messed up and I don't know what to do. Rewind time. And it will go back a few moments in time. Now sometimes you might lose a little bit of progress, so use it sparingly. Like, it didn't just get rid of me throwing the Sphinx, it got rid of me placing it and the two other objects. Use it sparingly, but if something wild happens that you can't correct on your own, the rewind button here in the top is a huge help for that. A huge help. Now, there we go. We are going to make, in this demonstrative video, a desert oasis style map for our game tomorrow. My play partner already knows that that's what we're going for, so there's no problems there. Like I said before, and I cannot emphasize enough, please be sure to openly communicate with your fellow player that you are either making the terrain ahead of time, or do they want to be there while you make it. I suggest being there. So, I'm going to pull out terrain squares and drop it here. Clear off this menu to give myself a little breathing room. Zoom in a little bit with the mouse wheel. Right-click, search. Huge thing you'll use a bunch. The way to get things out of these bags, like these terrain squares, you can either grab them and drag them, or you can right-click and search and get a whole another menu. To put them back, you can either drop them in and hope it lands. That one did. I almost wish it hadn't. Or, let's drag another one out. Right-click, search, drop in. These are all named. And I will take credit for that, because a lot of these, like 90% of anything in this asset mod that I created, was not named. It was just blank, and you only got the picture square. So, I think I want this, and these other kind of deserty looking terrain squares. I don't think I want any of the others right now, and if I want to, I can just respawn a new one. So I will just delete this with the delete key. Delete, not backspace. Let me get these a little organized and see what I want to go with. I think I'll use these lighter colored ones, so I'm just going to delete, 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 delete. Notice when I'm doing that, explain what I just did in a second, hovering it in white text. That's how I have 100% confirmation it's what I'm about to do. If you're nervous about that, right-click and delete exists as well. Real quick, while I'm seeing it, it says big field anytime I'm anywhere on the map, and it gives credit. That's something I put in. However, that gets a little cumbersome. So if you want to, I will not delete this because I want this person to get credit. But once you see it, you yourself can go in here and delete these so that now when you hover the field or your mouse is somewhere else, it doesn't show that. All right. We're going to start making this terrain piece. We're going to do a 3 feet by 5 feet. So I'm going to go to the end of this. I'm going to hold tab, and now I have a ruler. And it requires me to do math. Oh, heavens. Can I change that to... Nope, it has to be inches. All right, fine. $60. Oh, look. 2 mats. All right. Looks like my table is bleeding through a little bit, but that just means we have some grassy areas. You do not have to be as nitpicky as I am about placing the terrain. Good enough is good enough. This is not meant to be used at a tournament. This is so that players can play with other people online. Actually, to alleviate the grass sticking through, I am going to teach you about copy and pasting. Right-click, copy, Control, and V. You can right-click and paste, but it's kind of a pain. I recommend Control V. What I am going to do is stack a few of these on top of each other. Now, the grass doesn't poke through. Control C, V, V. And we'll give it another one. And one more for good measure. There we are. I want to take this one, and we're going to rotate it this way. Try to make it line up just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and lock these in place so that stuff does not start flying around. In fact, even to get the ones that are underneath, we're going to drag and then L. Now, all this should be locked in place. Move this one back. Good enough. We will copy, paste. Hitting Control Z goes backwards in time. I hit it accidentally because I use artistic programs a lot, and it is a pain in the butt when you accidentally hit that. Please try to avoid that. Control V. There we are. I think that'll be sufficient. I'm going to highlight those, press L to lock them. Now, it does look like we have a little bit of a height difference over here, so I'm going to look to fix that. I have made a mistake, and this is a perfect time to use rewind. Fixed everything. That was a very good example, and also a good example of when you're accidentally hitting things you don't mean to, like that. Ugh. Welcome to Tabletop Simulator, everybody, where things like to go hanky sometimes. There we are. Finally. Also a good time to show you how to save. Save. Save game. Where do you want to save it? Root folder. I don't sort. We will just call this 150 Point Oasis. let's check the measurement of this map. It is 44 inches by 60, which is essentially a 3x5, if my math is right. I am absolutely horrible at math. I am grabbing my phone to double check myself. 12 times 72. No, I pressed 6 by accident. 60. Okay. And then times 3 is 36. Ooh, is it times 4? It is almost a 5x4, actually, which is fine. We will go ahead and go with that. Now, this exterior green will be the unplayable area for us, essentially. I'll check something real quick. Yes. We're going to do the same thing with this that we did with the green field. We're going to delete the names so that that does not get cumbersome. I will not delete these for anybody or include these uncredited in any of my updates. I want them to have full credit to who did them. I know I keep emphasizing that. It's important to me. Alright, now just to make things look a little bit more clean, we're going to go to the terrain. We're going to grab some rocks and boulders. I don't care what ones I have. I'm not looking for a specific one, so I'm just going to start grabbing them. That one looks workable to me. Now if I would grab the correct one, I would be in business. WASDA moves you around. I know you can see that in the bottom, but I meant to say it. While holding an object, you can use your mouse wheel to rotate it, by the way. If you need to flip it on its side, there you go. F is also a key that will let you flip it upside down or right side up. However, it does not do of the little in-between angles. It is kind of all or none when it comes to the F key. When you play your own Blood and Plunder games, you do not have to be this elaborate, or you can be more elaborate. It is dealer's choice. I just wanted to make a bit of a more clear division. You can also copy multiple items at a time. I'm going to select this one, Control and click, left click, and then the same to this one. Control C, click off of them, Control V. Now I have 2 of them. You can also highlight by the drag and drop method. Now I have 4 of them, same thing. And this is now duplicating incredibly fast. A lot faster than placing them one by one, and it tends to look a bit neater. But I want them all to be a little bit more forward, so I'm going to highlight all these, move them up just a little bit, and there we are. We're going to give these a little bit more room, and hopefully straighten them up a little bit. Move the entire lot in ever so slightly. Then we are going to select all of these. I said select all of them. And lock them in place. Click away from them. Quick hover over everything to make sure nothing highlights. If it highlights in white like this, it means you didn't lock it. If it doesn't highlight, you're good. If you notice, these do not have a name or a credit. It's because I don't know it. If somebody does, let me know. I would love to credit the person. We're going to delete that. Now, let's start placing some terrain. I'm actually going to go ahead and search because there's at least one that I really want to place. and it's that one. This is my favorite terrain piece that I found. This model is from Terrain Preset by Grimnir, parentheses Russ. That's how his name is on Steam. And if he is the one that made this, he is very talented, very skilled, and I like his style because I love the snake. There's also one with a cobra that's not as mean or uncaffeinated, depending on the day. So, place that down, Control C, Control V. Whenever you Control V, it will go where your mouse is, where the little hand is. So I'm just going to place a few of these around. That should be plenty for that. I don't want to overcrowd with the same object. We're going to grab another one. Deciding on which one. Let's grab some of these rather standard rock formations. I will grab that one. And that'll be it for right now. I'm going to go ahead and right-click Delete, since I don't want to accidentally delete something else. If you see something like this, where it is see-through, that is just a way that computers and textures work. Press F while you're holding it, and it will most likely fix the issue. Because the issue is, most likely, it was just upside down. Me and my friend will be starting on opposite sides of this board edge, so I don't want to create uneven terrain. So I'm going to make sure this kind of hardcover style is not too prominent, and I'm going to place it one over here on this far edge, and one over here on this far edge. Since that is a bigger piece that provides a lot of cover, I don't want there to be too many of them. I felt like this one was a little close, so I moved it as well. We're going to create 2, 3, and let's do a fourth one back here of those. We're going to put this one over here. 1, 2, 3. Move this one a little bit, and I feel like that's sufficient for that. I've got a lot of things on the board that can wibble and wobble and be highlighted, so I'm going to highlight these and press L. A quick hover. All the rocks look fine, but I did accidentally unlock this. So this terrain desert square can be moved. We don't want that. However, if I press L right now, I would lock it and unlock the yellow highlighted items. So I'm going to click somewhere safe, hover over it to get it to turn white, and press L. And it is back to the way it should be. Because I'm paranoid, and you should be as well, I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Save game. Save. The game does also auto-save, but it is good to save yourself every so often. Alright, we're getting the general desert vibe here. However, I just don't feel like we're quite there yet. Let's get some water, because I promised him there would be a little bit of an oasis here somewhere. And trees, which is I put under the greenery tab. There are 41 trees and 12 water, so I am going to be using the search function for both of these. We got some little cactuses. We'll definitely include those. They're very small, but they might help in a situation. There is one in particular that I'm looking for. I called it Oasis with Tree, so I am going to type in Oasis, and there it is. There's 2 of them, actually. They look very similar because they are very similar. This one just has a little bit of ruins with it. Whenever you're playing Tabletop Simulator, it is best to, as with actual, in real life Blood and Plunder, talk with your other player and understand what is hard cover, what is soft cover, what is going to be a cover area. As an example, oh, my tree is out here. Let's see, give me, this is a good one. This is a tree grove that comes together for an ice map. If a object, save, button, minis, give me one of the natives. Good enough. This model is out of cover. This model is now in cover. What about right here? What about right there? If you trust the other person, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. Me and my fellow player, we won't. We'll decide it on the fly because we're both agreeable and we know each other and we've been friends for years. If you are playing with another player for the first time, load into the map and both of you talk about, that's hardcover. That's not enough to be hardcover. The water's impassable, but the stone pillars give hardcover, the other things don't. So on. I also recommend, we'll do it right now with this, barrel cactus. You could sit here and make a barrel cactus field. However, the problem with doing something like this is it becomes very hard to place your models realistically. If you want to do something like an area of something, I recommend, going to delete these, the 4-corner solution. Everything in this square is considered a cactus of some kind. So that model is now in cover, now out of cover. If you want to sit here and fill it, you can. And then if something gets in your way, you can simply move it. If it's locked, you can just right-click, unlock, or L key as before. Move it out of the way, move your models to where they need to go. When they're done with the terrain, just don't forget to move it back, or whatever. And when you do move terrain, try not to do what I just did and move it somewhere else on the map. Move it to a clearly not part of the map area. And if they fall over like this, don't worry. When you pick them up, they will attempt to reorient themselves, and 90% of the time, it will work. When it doesn't work, the F key helps. I'm going to highlight all this. We're going to get rid of that. I'm going to go ahead and right-click delete because I don't want to delete my field. We are going to combine this oasis a little bit. Like that. I am going to highlight both of these, Control C, and I want another one over here. I am going to lock all of those in place. I hit it again, so click in the safe area, right click, toggle, lock. Locked again. There's a lot of repetitive motion here. That just is the nature of it, unfortunately. And fortunately, because it is very simple to learn once you start getting familiar with the buttons. Let's see. There's a palm tree of some kind here. Just a regular little palm tree. Here's another palm tree. That one is a bit unstable. And then it sets. If there's one that's unstable, one thing you can do, I'm holding left click to move it around. I'm going to press right click to suck it to the ground. It'll get a little wobbly. I'm moving your mouse around will make it wobbly, but you will not let go of it. When you have it in a way you want, let's lean it weirdly. L. And I let go. It is locked in place at that weird orientation. Right click. When you right click, make sure you have the right thing highlighted. Because look, I'm clicking on the tree, but I'm not getting the tree. There's technical reasons for that, but just understand it needs to be the right thing. See, now it is highlighted. Toggle. Unlock. And now I can go back to messing with it if I wish. I don't feel like dealing with this tree, so I'm just going to delete it while I'm holding it. If you're holding it, it is the object selected. So, for example, if I do this, and I press delete, it doesn't matter what I'm hovering over, it's going to be the thing that deletes. However, we're going to go ahead and use this one. I'm going to copy it, but I want this one to be here. So after I copied, I'm then going to lock this one. Place a few around. Unlike actual Blood and Plunder and terrain sections, where there is essentially a good example here. essentially a square of, oh, everything here is cover and difficult terrain. It's a bit harder to do that in Tabletop because the only templates we have access to right now are ones like this that don't fit, or ones that are three-dimensional and create height issues. So, my best recommendation, establish areas. So, for this, I'm going to make this little triangle right here. So I will talk with my fellow player when he arrives, and this entire little green area right here I will propose to be an area of cover. Forgive the lightning and thunder you may hear outside. In that same mindset, we're going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to copy this little red square, and I'm going to put it over here. Now there's a large terrain coverage area here as well, but we have already pre-decided that water will not be passable when we play this map. Remember, the rule of cover is, can you see the model in its entirety? This will let you get very, very close. If you want to test it, just grab any old miniature. I like him better. Let's place him right here. We will give him an enemy pirate who is apparently not afraid of snakes. He must be me. They obviously have cover to each other if you get down here and look at it. You can get extremely close to them. You can even hover over the enemy one and see where his skeleton is versus what you can actually see. And determine cover from there. We're going to look if he shoots back. Same thing. Just keep in mind how Blood and Plunder handles cover when doing this. If you're unfamiliar, I suggest consulting the rule book, because I do not want to misquote something on accident. Alright, let's go back to putting some objects down. There's a particular water that I wanted access to. It's that one right there. Some of these are animated, by the way. I do not want to create an impassable area where no one can cross right here. It creates multiple issues and is usually not recommended. So we're going to put a little bit of a small bit of water. Let's just put one here and one on the opposing side, just to make things difficult for both of us. It will not provide cover. It will just get in your way because we have both decided before the game, and even before setup, that water on the field will not be passable. There is plenty of times and plenty of circumstances, and it is totally acceptable to have water that it can be waded through, treated like difficult terrain, or completely ignored. It is just dealer's choice. This is just what we decided. However, I still feel like parts of this map are empty, right here and right over here. So we're going to stop opening that anytime. We're going to go in here and see what we can find. I'm not sure I feel like too much of that would look very good, so we're going to see what else I have. We're going to check terrain. We're going to put some buildings down. Let's go ahead, and I think I want just some small buildings. I labeled this one myself as large buildings. I'm not kidding. These should be in a large city or church setting only. Do as you wish, play as you wish, use what you wish, how you wish. Just be aware that other people may not think that way, so that clarify with the other player. I know I keep saying that. It is very important. All right, we're going to search the buildings here. I want some desert-themed buildings, and we have them. Let's see what we have. 1, 2, 3. I know these off the top of my head, and we'll drop them out as well. That's not supposed to be in that bag, but oh well. This urban building here is a good example of collision difficulties. Let me get one of the other guys out here again. I should just leave one out, shouldn't I? Let's get a European. That looks like it works right. But when you start trying to place it close, like if I want to put one of these next to the door, it doesn't work right. That's because of how it was created and how it was modeled. That is no one's fault. It is just something to be aware of. So if something like that is being a pain, just do your best to agree with your player that, hey, it's not fitting up there. I'm going to set it here, but it's actually right next to the door. Is that okay? Thank you. Very simple, but communication will be important. All right, let's take this building because I like it. To make it fair, I don't want to place it towards just one player. I'm going to place it in my area, but facing him. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now, I copied a frozen object or locked object, so it is hovering. So I'm going to right-click toggle the lock, and it's back to being affected by gravity and other physics. We're going to drop it down here. We're going to lock it back in place. Now this table is probably a little bit more full. Then I would have a real life table. That is because of the issue right here where little areas don't exist, so instead I manually create the areas. So there's more places for models to get cover since there's no clear defined little flat areas. Just to make things simple, since I don't remember things well, is this an in cover area? Control A and Control C to copy the text, and then I'm going to right click in the name category, same thing. Now when we see this, we can talk about it and see if we agree. We're essentially done with the setting up of land. I will be using French. I don't remember my force off the top of my head. I don't have Force Builder up, but let's just do some approximations. We don't have one-to-one models, so Tabletop Simulator, until further notice, will be a musket guy is a musket guy, and so forth. As long as they are close enough, they are close enough. I have seen some other people, I don't remember the French very well yet, so let me actually grab this guy to show you what I mean, to prevent confusion. Now it says wood base right now. Well, that's not a wood base, that's a person. Right click. I always do this. Let's say I have 6 Braves. I have him labeled as a Brave. Control C while hovering him. Control V. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I now have 6 Braves. I always do it that way 100% of the time. Because otherwise, even if they look different, I still may get confused. Now, what some people do instead, they will go Braves, shoot, 6-6, shift enter, fight. Oop, fight goes first, doesn't it? Shift enter, fight, 6/7. I turned off my numpad. Resolve, 6. Scouts, hidden. Ball, and it uses the symbol for all that matters. And shot. Hard chargers. Now I have to look it up. Now even I'm doubting myself on what natives have. I think that's right. I was correct. Never doubt yourself. Believe in yourself. So, now I'm just going to, with all that typed in, I'm just going to click somewhere safely away. Braves, but if I leave my mouse hovered for a while, it'll now show the rest of the information. Because I did that, I will now copy this model and copy every single one. Paste, rather. Now, all of them will say that the exact same way. If you're including a fighting man, you can use, like let's say you have a sharpshooter in a unit of Braves. You can do it like this, and now that's your sharpshooter. We will even sharpshooter. However, I like keeping with the unit. So if this was to be my sharpshooter, I would rename him sharpshooter. And I'm going to select the white square on color tint, pick the color that I deem appropriate. Sharpshooter is violent, so it's red to me. And now he is tinted red. Sometimes it will tint just the model. Sometimes it will tint just the base. Sometimes it will tint all of it. It depends on how the model was assembled. In this case, it's the base, but I'm fine with it. And as long as my opponent understands and it's clear, there's no problems. Now, let's give myself those Braves. Let's make me Marins. And Zliden. Don't criticize my spelling, please. Let's give myself a unit 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll give myself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. Let's say I decide to deploy like this. When you move, you can either move a singular person at a time, or highlight the group, move them as a group. Now, as far as measurement in Blood and Plunder goes, we all know measuring to get to places. You can either highlight or pick up whoever you want, grab them, press and hold the tab key, and it will now measure things. Let go of tab, it forgets measuring, put it back, and it will measure it. You can even grab, I think I want to go, oh wait, how far is that? Then press tab. It will still keep track even if you never pressed it before. It is very intuitive, very easy to use. However, I don't like doing it that way. So, instead, I'm going to highlight all my, ooh, that's a tree. We're going to lock that tree down, and I'm going to highlight everything and see if I forgot anything. I sure did. We're going to lock that one. We're going to lock those. I'm so sick of hitting that particular square. There we go. Now I can safely target just these. Now that I have just these models selected, I'm going to right-click on any of them, and this will now apply for all of them. I'm going to scroll down on the toggles, but instead of lock, I'm going to go down here to measure movement. You see they all blinked because it applied that setting. Now click safely away. Now any of them I grab, I'm not pressing anything, as you can see by my display keyboard. I'm just moving them around. It will now keep track of them. The only thing to keep in mind is if you grab a group, it will move from their center, not the edgemost model. So that might matter to you sometimes. If you want to put a model back, do I want to move up here? Move 8? No, I don't think I want to move. I think I'm just going to shoot and aim for 10s. So I'm now going to move this model back. It can be a pain to find the 0.0 mark. If you cannot find the 0.0, be clear to your opponent. I'm having trouble getting them exactly back. I'm going to place them 0.1 behind where they originally were. Or I always go with someplace disadvantageous to me, since I'm the one with the problem. 0.1 is never going to matter, but I still like to be courteous in that fashion. Doesn't matter where you move them, it will keep up. When moving things around, or doing anything, you will see an odd colored mouse flying around. That is your opponent. If I change my color to purple, the superior color, you see that my mouse cursor is now purple instead of white. It will be whatever color you are. The host starts as white. The host is the person that created the game. Now, if you are on the white side, and you see a green, purple, yellow, whatever mouse flying around, that is where your opponent, friend, fellow player, that is where their mouse is and what they're looking at. It won't show you what they're highlighting. It won't do anything like this, but you will see their mouse moving around. That is just to give you an idea of where they are and where they're looking. If you want to show them something, let me move these Braves over here. Hey, these Braves, or these Marins are going to shoot at those Braves. What are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Because they're looking at this rock. Oh, that's an interesting rock. These Marins are going to shoot at these Braves. I'm pressing the tab key. Super useful. I will go over the most of this in the next video, such as using fortune points, the various markers that you get, the deck of cards, and more importantly, the dice. We'll cover all that later. I don't want to crowd this video too much. Alright. I'm going to delete all of this excess, because this is going to be our game tomorrow. You will see this soon. For now, I'm going to go to game. I want to save, but what I want to save is already right here. This is 150 point Oasis. That's what I want it to be called. So I'm going to click the little 3-dot options menu. Overwrite. Do you want to overwrite this? Overwrite it. Now that is now this, as you can see in the little thumbnail. The last thing we'll go over. I'm pressing escape. I'm going to go to the main menu. I'm going to show you how to join a game. These are all error codes from the Blood and Plunder original base that I pulled out. Your friend can invite you via Steam. They can also watch you stream, but that is a bit of a pain. Or they can join it directly. You or them can join. You just click join. The server names will be shown up here. There is a lot of them. I recommend hide full let's say I create a game, multiplayer, for friends. Now let's make it public. Public with a password. Create setup. Oop, wrong one. 150 point Oasis map. Loading is now complete. Now, what they can then do, I have to exit out because I'm only one person. They will then, once that is complete, go to join, find the server name here, which the server name is what you make this right here. When they find that server name, they will click on it, and it will prompt them for a password. I'm not going to enter one because I don't actually want to join that game, nor do I know the password. They will enter the password, and then it will load them right into that game. It is just that simple. All right, that should be everything that I can think of. I'm going to stop this recording, and I hope this was useful to you all, and I'll record the actual playing of a game tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. And just remember, the French helped you get here. Have a good summer of plunder, everybody.